Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Opinion Machine, the show where we talk about all things gaming. My name is Killjoy, and today I want to talk about, or give my early impressions of, the most recent season of Deep Rock Galactic, Season 5, Drilling Deeper. And the reason why these are going to be fairly early impressions is I've put about maybe 3 or 4 days into just playing the game, but I haven't come across every single new bit of content that's in the game. But I thought I would just go over the things that I have come across and talk about the things that I like and the things that have been added. So first off, let's just straight into it. Let's drill straight into it. Sorry, it was terrible. First new mission, Deep Scan. So this is a brand new mission in the game. It essentially revolves around you finding crystals with this new tracker that's on the side of the screen. You find the crystals, you call down like a sensor array thing, you attach it to the crystals. It seems like it's either 3 crystals or 5 crystals. You find all of them. Once it does that, it searches for basically this part of Hoxis, this Morkite well, if you like, and then you get the drill elevator, which is a drill and an elevator. And so you have the first part of the mission, finding the crystals. The second part of the mission is drilling down. And this is actually kind of a fun mix-up of a combination of things. It's slightly partly like the escort mission. It's slightly to do with like finding other bits and bobs like you'd expect in the game and calling things down, like the towers for the caretaker, stuff like that. So it does combine sort of already existing ideas, but what makes it different is the fact that this elevator goes down. So now you're firing upwards on the wall, which leads to some very interesting interactions, because now you're firing up. So if you chuck a grenade up and stuff that's like the cluster bomb with the gunner, or like even the lead burster with the gunner, suddenly all that stuff's coming back towards you. So you really have to think about what you're doing. If you've got the goo, you fire the goo and it explodes, the goo falls down, or anything like that. Anything that you fire up that has like some kind of projectile. We'll get to one of the missile launcher mods later on, but that definitely led to a lot of explosions, and ultimately this leads to a different take on that sort of standard gameplay, where you have to think about what guns and things you want to take on the mission because of that potential for stuff to fall back down on your head while you're shooting upwards. One other cool thing that they've done with this is the fact that you have to repair the thing as it's going down. It doesn't take too long to repair the claw tracks. There's 4 of them around, but you have to take your eye off the ball. Like, you're shooting stuff that's coming down, you have to go down and repair them. During that time, you have to hope that somebody else is keeping an eye on what's going down. I found that this can be a little bit on the tougher side on single player, because you need to focus on doing it. But you have got Bosco, and to be honest, I've only played it on like normal. I've not played it on hard, so it might be quite difficult. But it definitely keeps you on your toes. You have to like shoot a few, repair one, shoot a few more, repair them. But anyway, this thing drills down. You get to the bottom. You smash open the Morkite things. You get these new jet boots, and you fly back up, and that's the end of the mission. I actually really like it. The only issue I have a lot of the time with these particular missions is the cave structures. They're very twisty, and it's very easy to get lost. And a lot of the time where I found the drill comes down, I've always found that getting to it can be a bit of a bitch, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just maybe my preference to how I like my cave layouts. A lot of the other ones, like mining Morkite and stuff, is very spiral heavy. This is very like networks. It's just a lot of places to go to find stuff, especially if you're looking for secondaries. All in all, the new mission, very fun. I enjoy what it's doing. Like I said, it takes elements of other missions, puts it together. I like what they've done here. Looking forward to seeing other crazy ideas to come up with, but this one works really well. I've had a lot of fun playing it. I've played plenty of these missions, and I do think that dynamic of drilling down definitely changes up what you have to do. You can't just chuck a grenade up in the air and hope that it's gonna not come back down. But all in all, like fun mission, good addition to the new season. The season event for this one is core stones, which are these like rock formations that you smash through, and upon doing so, this rock, like this core stone, essentially comes to life. It gets a health bar, like your mini bosses, like everything else, like the core locks and stuff like that, and causes these rifts to open. They have these new enemies that come through, which they've dubbed core spawned crawlers. I really like these. I think these are really, really fun. They've made the crawlers feel very dangerous. They're very fast. They act kind of like monkeys. They jump around all over the place. They look different to pretty much all the other enemies. And these can be quite tough. The actual core stone isn't that bad to deal with. It doesn't really move or anything. But yeah, the enemies that come through the portals, if you don't deal with them quickly, they can really smash through your shield and do some serious damage. I much prefer this over some of the previous season events, like the one for the lithophage with the lithophage things got up and walking around. Like, I hate that thing. I just find that to be really infuriating. But some of the other events, like, you know, we have like the robot ones, finding down the robots, or even the one we have to like deal with the arrays and stuff. That's a lot more fun, and this is similar to that. It's just different that you have a new enemy type to deal with, and I think that enemy type is kind of fun, if a little bit difficult in some elements of dealing with them, because they are very, very, very fast. Their weak spot is their face, so you have to try and hope that you can just blast them on in the face to get rid of them. But that does lead on to the new enemies. Now, I have only come across 2 of the 4 new enemies, unfortunately. I've played a bunch of missions. I have not come across the Glyphid Stalker, which is the invisible, or nearly invisible thing. I don't know what it sounds like. I haven't come across it. I've only seen the little bit of gameplay they showed off about it, which is a shame, because I feel like this enemy would add to some interesting dynamics to the game, but not come across it, so I can't speak to that. There's also the Vartok Scale Bramble, sorry, which is this like plant you have to like deal with elements of it. I've not come across one of those either, so. But I have come across the Barrage Infector, which is like the other Infector, like the normal one. This one apparently, this one fires out like a barrel, quite literally a barrage of like things you have to dodge. I've only come across it twice, and both times I've dealt with it fairly quickly. But it's cool. I'm glad that they've got a new version of one of these. These enemies can be quite surprising. They just pop out of nowhere and blast you with things. I like the barrage. I really like the fact that they keep adding more new enemies to the game. I haven't come across 2 of them, but the Barrage Infector and the Core Spawn Crawler, which is the other one, I like what they're doing. I really hope to see more of it. I love the Stingtail and the Acid Spitter thing. Not the Acid Spitter, I forgot what's called, the Toxic dude. I really, really like when they add enemies to this game, because they add this element of, oh, I've got to deal with them differently. Like, my favourite enemy in the entire game is probably the Nemesis. It's pretty easy to deal with, but it's, you know, interesting. They don't pop up very often. I love the Nemi, very, very cool. But yeah, Barrage Infector, Core Spawn Crawler, really nice additions to the game. I really like what they add. Hope to come across the Glyphid Stalker and Vartok Scale Bramble soon. I'm about 20 levels into the track, just to give you guys an idea. I'm about 20 levels into the tracker, so I've been playing a lot of this over the coming days, past few days, sorry. And yeah, I am playing on normal, so that might affect some of these enemies spawn rate. It also might depend on the areas. They've now added Hazard 5 Plus. I haven't even got to playing Hazard 4 or 5 or anything like that. I don't even touch it. I'm glad it exists. I'm really glad for people. I like what they've done with it. Can't speak to it because I've not used it, but apparently it's difficult. What I can speak about, though, is some of these overclocks. Now, I haven't unlocked every overclock for the guns, but I can talk about some of the ones that I have used. So, there's the Lead Storm, which is the minigun, has one called Rotary Overdrive, and this is a really cool idea. So the way this one works is you push the R key, because I'm playing on keyboard and mouse, and you can chuck water, essentially, on the minigun while it's spinning, to cool it down more efficiently. And so the idea of this is so that, alright, it spins up to a hotter heat quicker, but now you have like 10 bursts of water. I think it's 10. And essentially you can stand there and fire, and as long as you keep an eye on your minigun spinning up, you can, for a very long period of time, just keep dousing it with water to cool it quicker, which means in the time when you know, if you've got max ammo, if you're fighting like dreadnoughts and stuff, this could potentially be very, very good. If you're dealing with massive amounts of enemies and you're like, you know, you're trying to protect somebody or they're trying to do other objectives, as a gunner, you can plant your feet with this and just absolutely unload. As long as you keep an eye on what you're doing and not overheating the gun, you can just cool this gun down. And even when you do overheat it, you can cool it down quicker. So I think this is really cool. It's just like an extra management level of looking at the minigun, but it works really well. Very, very much enjoyable. I haven't come across the other two for the gunner. So that's the mortar rounds cluster charges. I have seen the cluster charges. They are insane. Mortar rounds I have not. Cluster charges basically is you fire from the hurricanes, the hurricane rocket things blow up, and then all the clusters fall down. Very cool. I've seen that in the 1 or 2 missions. Very, very fun. The scout ones, I've got all of them. So the deep core gets burst fire. I don't think burst fire is bad. So I need to make this clear. I'm not a big fan of burst fire weapons ever. I want single shot or fully auto basically. Burst fire is pretty good if you want to play the scout purely based on doing weak spot damage, or playing a medium to long range game, playing accuracy and aiming for weak spots on enemies or dealing with certain targets. I don't think it's very good against just like standard, like if you get rushed down by a bunch of standard glyphids, I don't think it's actually that good, but for actual targeting of weak points and other things like that, I do think it's quite good. I personally probably won't use it that much because it's not really the sort of thing that I want to use too much, but ultimately I can see why people would want to use it because it's got a level of consistency and a level of like set damage, and you only fire 3 bullets. It is fairly accurate, so for that reason pretty good. M1000 classic, so the sniper rifle essentially, marked for death. This is the I believe this is the one where you fire the darts and when you use focus fire. Very powerful, great for group games. Wouldn't use it in solo game or anything, but yeah, you tag something, it takes more damage, works pretty well. You do lose that ability to focus damage down stuff, so you're not going to get the power you would normally get from that. But yeah, I think this got its use here, but I don't know if it's something that I would personally. I don't really use the M1000 to be honest. The other thing we got here is for the Drac, which is the conductive thermal. So this is an interesting one because this is basically when you tag things with the Drac, with this equipped, the enemies take more heat damage, more cold damage, stuff like that. So it essentially allows for enemies to take more damage, and yeah, it's fairly decent. Moving on then, I haven't found. I believe I might have one of the ones for the engineer, which is the lock rifle, but I don't think I've tried it. What I have got though is a couple of the ones for the driller. So flamethrower gets scorching tide, which is a very, very powerful ability, and I can see why a lot of people probably like this. Essentially, hold down the reload button, and boosh, a massive wall of flame goes out in front of you, does a lot of damage, and has a big area, depending on, like, it's like a cone almost. Very, very good. I forgot to use it most of the times I had it equipped, so that's good. But can recommend that it is a powerful, powerful ability. I have a feeling on higher difficulties with a ton of enemies, you will be using this as almost to nuke down a bunch of enemies. So, very good. Cryo Cannon also gets a very good one in crystal nuclear creation. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Nucleation, something like that. Basically what this does, in simple terms, is you fire it and ice spikes appear across the floor, which you can keep firing at to maintain. Slows enemies, does damage. Very, very cool, very, very defensive option. Really like it. To be honest, most of the overclocks in this that I've used have unique properties or are a lot of fun to use, so I would recommend most of them. I think the flamethrower one's pretty crazy actually, just in terms of like having someone who just pump out a bunch of damage very, very all of a sudden. So yeah, they're very good. Moving on from that then, we got new secondary objectives. These are pretty fun. We've got the barnacles, which essentially is these like things in the ceiling, and you just kill them. It's very easy to find, they stand out. I like it, it's simple, you don't have to get too many of them. This is like a more efficient gunk seed is probably the way I would look at it, which I like. I like gunk seeds anyway because they're fairly easy, but I like the fact that you just shoot them at the ceiling and it's done. Good secondary objective, I like this one. And then the other one is Swarmer Eggs, which is, they've had in the game for ages, you know, just this Swarmer Eggs thing about. I like this one, but I think 40 is just a bit too many. I think I prefer 30, but I think that's going to vary depending on the kind of level and how big and how small they are. It's just sometimes they're a bit fiddly to find. If you miss a couple, it's like trying to find them is an absolute nightmare. There's a lot on a level, so you'll always walk into a lot of them, but I think 40 is maybe a bit much. Maybe we can tone that down just a little bit. They added 2 new deep dives. Secondary objectives, which was deep scan and liquid morkite extraction. I've yet to play deep dive since this new season's come out, but deep dive fun. I do like the fact that those secondary objectives that they add, they're always good. it's cool that you've got more options and more to pull from the pool. New warnings as well. So we've got duck and cover, which I actually really like. I like duck and cover. This basically means anything with a long ranged attack, you basically have to deal with a lot of stuff like that. So your webs, your acid spitters, your Mac terrors, stuff like that. I think it's really fun. I think it's a really cool one. The other one is Ebonite Outbreak. I've not come across that, but that's where you have a lot of the Ebonite glyphs. You have to like deal with them. Cool idea. Hopefully I'll come across it. Yet to pop up, yet. And there's a couple of the new anomalies, which is Secret Secondary, which I've had that come up once. That's kind of fun. I like that one. So you have like an extra secondary to deal with. You don't know what it is until you get in the mission. Kind of cool. Really like it. Adds just another layer. Kind of reminds me of a deep dive, but not a deep dive. And the other one is Blood Sugar, which is like you have to deal with enemies. And when you kill them, they just constantly spit out red sugar. So it's an interesting one. You're constantly taking damage, but you constantly get health. So pretty cool. I think. Oh yeah, the one thing that is I have experienced now is during the Omran Hearthstone mission. Hearthstone mission, sorry. You have to deal with a new phase that they've added in, which is shown by the stone being like engulfed in this shiny material. It now causes these things to come out the ground, and you have to avoid them. It's a really cool addition to what is usually quite a very, very much like this is what happens. You have this phase, and you have this phase, and you have this phase. Now I've seen a couple of variations of the direct missions, so the escort missions. Sometimes I see more rock, sometimes I see more of the lasers. They've moved things around a little bit, and I actually really appreciate that. Very refreshing, awesome. And that's mainly, I mean, they've added a lot of new cosmetic stuff. Obviously the new you've got the new season rewards, you've got the new skins for the guns, called like Neoteca, looks really cool. There's new stuff for the cargo packs, cargo crates, lost packs, things like that, which is really, really awesome. There's new like extra weapon maintenance paint jobs, new skin tones, which are really, really cool. There's a ton of new just other bits that aren't gameplay. We've got the new status effects as well. They're really cool. So now your shield and you're taking damage and stuff, they've all been upgraded to look more interesting, easier to identify essentially. So when your shield gets hit, you kind of get this like almost like a textured shield layer thing, which is kind of cool. And there's a lot of small stuff that was added to the season as well, like cosmetic filtering. I think one of the biggest ones is the reactivation of seasons. I've pretty much covered everything that I want to cover about the new season. The new season's fun. I'm enjoying it. I like what they added. I do want to quickly just talk about the season reactivation stuff because I don't think I have yet. And I want to talk about why this is one of the coolest fucking things ever in any live service game. They've now let you, for free, play any of the previous seasons. And while you're doing those previous seasons, if you're working with someone else who's working on a different season, you get XP and things for different things, right? Why this is so cool is this game has never been based on FOMO. Your seasons in this game are lasting, 6 to 8 months, plenty of time to do them. You have other events that help boost that. In this one, you had missions to help boost that, so you don't spend, from 1 to 100. It doesn't take that long. You now see that they've gone, hey, we've put all the things back into all those trackers. You can turn on whichever tracker at your own leisure, your own time. It's not going anywhere. Things are in the right place. This is awesome because it means for new players, they can play through the seasons at their own pace. They can chop and change depending on what they want to experience. There's no penalty, you're not being penalised, and the best thing about it all, it's all free. And it frustrates me to no end that other games aren't looking at this and going, hey, that's a really cool idea, that's really consumer friendly. Let's do that for our games. And as somebody who has gotten very much over any sort of FOMO from games and has gotten over any sort of this paying a lot of money, I absolutely applaud the guys at Ghost Ship, the guys at everyone at Deep Rock who's working on this game. You guys are doing a fantastic job by doing something that is very consumer friendly, by letting people play any of the seasons in their own time, at their own pace, all free. All the cosmetics and stuff are in the game. There's no way you can buy stuff. The only stuff you can buy with this game is the DLCs they put out. I appreciate what they do, and the fact that they are so forthcoming to their players and stuff is awesome. I really hope more games take notice of what they've done here. Awesome. Overall, so far, my early impressions of Season 5, it's a lot of fun. I'm very much enjoying this season already more than the last one. The last one was more of the Rockpot stuff, which I didn't enjoy that much. I liked what they were doing, I just didn't enjoy it that much. And it was fun, but this is already much better. I do like the fact that you still will come across like the meteorites and all that sort of stuff anyway, but so far so good. I'm enjoying it. I like what they've added. I like all the small tweaks they've done, the new voice lines, the new cosmetics, everything that's in the game. Very, very happy and looking forward to seeing what comes down the line. Looking forward to actually bumping into some of these new enemy types I haven't seen, and ultimately what this is leading to for this new game that's like this other roguelike potentially thing that they're working on. But Season 5 for Deep Rock Galactic is awesome. There's a ton of new stuff, and ultimately I'm going to keep playing it. I'm enjoying my time, and hopefully you guys got something from this. Just a little quick insight into what's going on with the game and all that good stuff. So that's going to do it for me today then, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, if you like the video, hit like. If you want to see more content, hit subscribe. Links for Facebook and Twitter will be down below in the description as always. And until next video, I will see you then.